Okay, welcome everyone again to another Paul McNally repre, as I'm now starting to call it, because I like abbreviations. It's the preview, it's the repre show, Friday, the 6th of January. So we're going to review the Bootle game on Monday and preview the Skelmersdale United game tomorrow. So thank you, Paul, for joining us.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having us on tonight.
Good, no problem. Just before we go on and we get into the deep stuff, if anyone is listening, it's on or watching on YouTube, should I say. If you haven't subscribed yet, will you please subscribe and sign up for or whatever they call when you get a notification, please. That'd be great. But subscribers are what we need. And we've added about 100 or so in the last couple of weeks since we started doing this and the player interview shows, but we really want more. So subscribe. Anyway, Paul, straight into it. The Bootle game, obviously, as I've said, Mike and Sam get you straight after the game, and you haven't had a chance to look at video or whatever. What are you thinking about the Bootle game?
I don't think we played bad. I thought we were the better team, if I'm totally truthful. Do you know what I mean? At the time after the game, I might probably give them a little bit too much respect and credit, where I don't think they actually, besides the second half of coming out and bombarding us, which they did, they bombarded us with aerial threats. When Andy Owens comes on, it then becomes a fight ball at every opportunity, and they were looking to pick up seconds. When the actual times to get on the ball, I thought we were the team that looked like we wanted to get on the ball and play. There was moments in the game where we played a little one-touch, two-touch in and around their box, which we created through Jack Hazelhurst, Kevin Ellison and Danny Mitchell at times. But no, look, it was a good point. It's a good point to have. But at the same time, I feel now it's probably we should have had the full 3 points.
That's how I was feeling in the bar after the game, to be fair. Yes. I did feel as though they put us under a fair bit of pressure, aerial pressure I might add, in the second half. But I know they had the dead, and Andy Owens had a straight at Barnes, and I think Andy hit
the one he hit the post. He hit the post, didn't he? From
a great effort from McGowan.
They didn't actually carve us open as such. I don't remember the time. All right, off the first half, the long ball, the keeper out of his hands, and it caught our defence flat-footed, and Jack Hunt's caught up with Navaldo, the lads, and he's gone over and he was chatting then. That was the only time where we looked like we were on the back foot. And that's from a long ball. That's not from a cut us open piece of play. They're very physical, aren't they? That if I'm being honest, it's probably the most physical Bootle team I've seen in a long time. Used to playing football, aren't they? But who am I to argue with it? Do you know what I mean? It's successful for them. They're winning at the moment. So it is what it is, but I think we were just as good, you know what I mean? Possibly better than them on the day. So it shows how far we've moved forward, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. When you consider that Danny Mitchell scored an absolutely tremendous, worldy goal, and then has been cleaned through 3 times. Obviously, one's a mistake from their player, the one in the first half, and Danny lobs it over and just misses. But the 2 in the second half, I mean, Danny's running straight on. He should have had a hat-trick at least, Danny, but I'm not complaining. He played great, Danny. His hold-up play was sensational, and he's in those positions to do the business. But I really feel as though we should have got that. I felt that on Monday night, if I'm brutally honest. We should have come away with the 3 points.
Yeah. And, after the game, I'm just thinking, because it did feel like they were bombarding us, and we were on the sidelines, and we were like saying, it's going to come here. And I was ready to make changes, which it was. I made a change about a minute or 2 before. They've then scored. We're probably not even the best attack they've had, you know what I mean? They had a better attack that they did the post from. Their goals actually just to header on and then...
long ball, flick on.
It's just caught us by surprise and gone in. That's it, really. But that's it, do you know what I mean? That I've got to pay them the compliments that way. They did come out second half and they did bombard us, and we was under the cosh because we were protecting a 1-0 lead.
Yeah.
But if it was 0-0, it possibly could have been a different game, do you know what I mean? But we were 1-0 up, we had a good lead to protect, we were protecting it. We were then playing on the counter. They've equalised. And from that point on of the equaliser, we looked the better team again.
Yeah.
So for 25, 30 minutes, you could arguably say Bootle were the better team. But for the rest of the game, no, we were the better team.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And you were talking, you mentioned earlier about one such moves around the box. On the video, and by the way, the video's on Page TV for anyone who wants to look at the match and actually see what really happened in the game. There was a lovely 20-odd little pass move in all around the Bootle box, just one touch, blah, 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 and I can't quite think what happened. I think Jack Hazelhurst ends up on the end of it, and either slips or something happens at the end of it, which doesn't quite get it the end product that it deserved, because the one touch football, just knocking it around, was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, there was a few little phases, as you say. It was sporadic in between spells of their pressure, but at that point there was one such move, and it was down the side of where we was, and Danny Mitchley was in down the side, in and around the centre halves. Yeah. Steely come on and was in and around the sides on that side.
Yeah.
So it was a derby, wasn't it? It was not one-way traffic. It was a derby, and for all of the positions where they are in the league, I'd say they're 8th, was they, in the league?
Yeah.
Didn't look like they were 8th compared to us. I thought we both looked similar in teams and stature. So that's the best compliment I can pay my lads, but also the fact that there was no difference in the team.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting as well is, just looking back, I think about 4 or 5 weeks back, Bootle were there with us, we were 3rd bottom, and I can't remember, after a couple of bad results, they were 4th bottom, they were in the bottom 4. Fair play, they've gone on a run, they've hooked themselves up to 7th or 8th or whatever it is, so, you can't knock that.
Oh, no, you can see why they've been winning games. I can see that 100%. They've got quality. They play a certain way, which is effective, and it'll win more games than it loses. So I will give them that credit, and I give them a lot of credit anyway after the game. So I'm not here to not give them any credit, but at the same time, we deserve the credit as well, because I thought it was a good game all round, and thought we were full value for possibly 1 point, maybe
we were full value for 1 point, but
possibly the 3.
Yeah, one of those good away points, especially in the derby, where, in fairness, our teams over the last couple of seasons have capitulated there in the second half. I think I've said to you, that was the 3rd game on the run at Bootle that we're going to go up, and somehow contrived, to lose the game. But I wouldn't say I was never concerned that we were going to lose that game, but that was more like muscle memory almost. I think our defenders were absolutely superb, dealing with that aerial bombardment, and defended resolutely. The lads in midfield, the solid defence, in my opinion, just gives us the foundation for the midfield lads who battled away, and the forwards to just then get on the ball when and if they can in a derby and show their class. And I thought it was a really great performance, to be honest.
It was I thought the back 5, as I say, the back 4, back 5. They were immense, weren't they? Every one of them, and the whole team was the same. But it's similar to the Runcorn game, isn't it? We defended resolutely there, and that's, for any good, successful team, you have to build from the back. You can't just build from the front. You have to build from the back and work your way forwards. And we've already got the forwards in place and the midfielders. It's just building the defence, which over the last few games can't fault them. They've been immense.
No, credit to them, and we put a thing up on the Twitter the other day. BBBB, Big Bad Ben Barnes, Hughes, Holland, Pont, and Wiley. So 4 B's, 3 H's, and a W. Anyway,
We'll have that.
Yeah, we'll have that. So that's all good. Talking about defending well and everything, we mentioned we have a little chat about a player every week. So let's talk about Jack Hunt, who came to us really ostensibly as a left back. You've been playing him in centre half, left centre half over the last few games, Paul, and he's done sensationally well, hasn't he?
To be fair to him, he's been outstanding the last 2 games, hasn't he? Done calm minutes in the Bootle game. Looks like he's played centre half all his life. He has previously played there. He played for Bearscough last season there a couple of times. He filled in. And I initially brought him as a left back to the club, but he adds so much balance when he plays centre-half. He's like a Maldini, isn't he? Like a young Maldini playing there.
I wouldn't go that far, like, you know, come on, let's keep it real now.
That's a compliment, isn't it? No, he's shown us true class there at centre-half, alongside Liam Bootle, by the way, who's been immense alongside him. So the two of them. And then Hughesy and Pete Wiley. So, like I say, long may that continue. But Jack's added a little bit of class to us, a little bit of elegance, a little bit of pace in the defensive areas, and doesn't lose a lot of headers, does he?
No. And you just mentioned Hollett, and Hollett doesn't lose a lot of tackles, which I pay. It's just on a personal point of view, I like it. You know, I know he's a little bit on the edge at times, but those 100% tackles that he throws in, and he looks like I'm winning this. You know, I love that. I think that, and that's your.
Liam hasn't probably got enough credit, has he, since he's joined? So since he's joined, what was his first game in the Ramsbottom game? If I remember rightly. No, Mosley was his first game, I think.
Yeah.
But since that, though, the tide slowly turned and he's put a stamp on. He's become more familiar with the team and the lads. And
you've got a bed in, haven't you?
And you're starting to see what a leader he is. Do you know what I mean? He was a captain at his previous club. Do you know what I mean? So you know what he's about. You know he'll give it 110%. You know he'll tackle anything that moves. You know he'll run through a brick wall for you. And that's all we've asked from the lads, honestly. Do you know what I mean? He will tackle anything that moves, by the way.
I'm staying away from him. I don't want one of them 100%ers when he tries to cut me in half. But it's reminiscent, funnily enough, of Kevin McKellen, who you'd be familiar with, Paul. But you know, Kevin was a proper hero at our club.
Yeah.
Who tackled like that, a lot like Hollett in the Counties League, First Division and the Premier Division. And, you know, people just love to see it. I know it's on the edge of time, but it shows really a commitment to, like, it is just winning that ball in that moment, but it's a commitment to winning, isn't it?
Listen, no one wants to see yard dogs on the pitch, Judy, and there's a fine line between that and Liam's not that. He can play, the lad, just like Kevin McKellen could. He was a great player, wasn't he? And occasionally these players do have the odd moments of madness, as the top players all do. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what makes them good players. Do you know what I mean? That they have them little moments of madness, and I think that's why fans love them and relate to them. So I've got no qualms over, as long as he doesn't put us down to 10 men every week. Do you know what I mean?
Well, be fair to him, not every
week. It's for the cause. Yeah, it's for the cause, and every tackle he's done's been timed to perfection, and he is a leader. Do you know what I mean? So I don't anticipate any problems with him.
No. Good. Without giving too much away, a bit of an injury update, Paul, for tomorrow. I know Barnes looked a bit ropey coming off the pitch there. He played the last 20 minutes with some form of a twist or a knock.
He went today, and I think it was the next day after the game. Something to do with his muscular in his pelvis. He actually thought he broke his hip. He said it was that bad. And if you look at one of the videos of one of the Bootle fans, you can see him hobbling in the background, and he's limping. So it must have took some blow for him to be like that, because in all the years I've known him, I've not seen him hobbling like that. He is still a doubt. He was at training last night. He trained a little bit, but he's still not 100%. So we need to see him an update tomorrow. Podge is fit. He hasn't played a lot of game times since he's been injured, but he's fit. So if Ben isn't fit, there's no better keeper to step in. Do you know what I mean? There's that's the blessings at the moment that we've got. We've got two top quality keepers that would grace any team in this league. So that's where we're at with it. Injury wise, Kevin Ellison was getting a little bit of treatment on his knee last night. I think that's from the Runcorn game previously. So it's carried on from that. It's sort of, he's still feeling a little bit the ill effects of it. I think he's played on Monday against Bootle, but he's still not been 100%, as he's realised after it. So we'll see where he is, updating with that. So I think Liam Hollett was struggling with his hamstring. He got a bit of treatment last night. He didn't train. He done a light session with Lee, the physio. But besides that, everyone else seems okay. Everyone seems 100%. We haven't got no illnesses, touch wood. And we all seem up for it and ready.
Good. Okay, so ready for it, Paul, into the Lions Den for you.
The Lions Den.
Yeah,
the Lions Den.
And some of the other lads, because obviously tomorrow we go to Skelmersdale United at Bearsco. You came to us from Skelmersdale after 3 or 4 games at the start of the season. And I think 4 or 5 lads or 6 lads now have followed you over from Skem into our squad. So there's a lot at stake, a lot of pride at stake, I would have thought. But from our club perspective, we just want the 3 points, mate, don't we?
Well, that's exactly what I've said. Look, take emotional attachments aside, all the hurrah that's going to be probably there. Take that aside, take sentiments aside, and it's just 3 points, isn't it? 3 points for either team, but it's 3 points that we desperately want to carry on our winning momentum or our run.
Yeah.
Look, I've had good times there, and I'm not going to make no bones about that, but them times have gone now. That's the past. It's about what we do here now. I've had my story with that club. Them players have had that story. The club have had the best there. Now it's here and now, and 3 points for us tomorrow sets us up nicely for the new year as well. Like I say, I don't know back. We go there and we're going to win. Yeah.
And in terms of what Skelmersdale squad's like now, obviously there's still some lads there that you would have managed and maybe even brought into Skem, I don't know, but brought in there or managed them or whatever. Yeah. Who should we be looking out for there tomorrow?
Listen, they're still a good side, regardless of whether I'm there or not. There's some top players there. So Michael Grogan's a top player, Joe Herbert, Sam Sheen, Elliot Morris is the danger man, which we all know. We all know that he's the threat. He's got a lot of pace. I brought these players that I'm talking about are who I brought to the club. But Elliot, he's on another level. Do you know what I mean? He's a class player for them, and he will go far in the game. But tomorrow's about, he has a bad game against us. That's it. We make sure that we're better than them, and he doesn't have a good game. Steve Milne's up against us. He might have a point to prove. He's gone from here to them. But at the same time, though, there's no points to be proven by anyone, because it's just about getting them 3 points, and that's it. And we've got lads in our team that will be wanting to win. We've got Skelmersdale lads in our team, so it's no bigger incentive, is there, for them to win. No one wants to be walking away from a derby without no points. So it's about just putting points on the board. And as good as them players are that I've mentioned, we've got just as good, probably better players. So it's about putting them points on the board.
And you mean, you're exactly right. It's about putting the points on the board, coming out of it with something. But Morris, for example, a winger, left, right, or both?
Right winger.
Do we know has Steve Mill been going up central with them, or why?
Steve Mill's been playing central, so they'll play a back 3. They've reverted from that from when I was there. I didn't play a back 3, which is now good. Their tactics, they play the back 3, and they'll have Elliot out wide. They'll play 2 up the top usually, so they go like a 3-5-2 sort of system. If they watch it, they'll probably change it. Do you know what I mean? But that's football. I've got my reports on them. My old scout was sitting in our grounds videoing our game on Monday night. Things we didn't know, but I knew he was videoing it. If he wanted to, he could have just asked for the video and we would have sent it off. Do you know what I mean? Well, things like that, do you know what I mean? It's cat and mouse. We're all trying to put one over on each other, and at the end of the day, I don't care how we win tomorrow as long as we win. That's it. I don't care how it is. It can go in off someone's backside in the 95th minute and we win. It can go in the first minute off someone's backside. I'm not really bothered as long as we get the 3 points. That's it.
Yeah, and this pitch, I mean, the club's played on this pitch several times, mostly in friendlies, but we played Bearsco there the other month, didn't we, in the Senior Cup? We didn't put a good performance in that night, but did that have anything to do with the pitch, Paul, or was that just really
the pitch itself? The pitch is fantastic. It's I think it's a 4G.
3G, 4G's.
So 4Gs don't stand.
Yeah.
Okay, then, so it's a 3G, but it's only been laid last year, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? So it's probably as good a surface as you're going to get. I think it plays a little bit slow at times when it's drier. The only problems I've got is where it is. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's the old Bearscough grounds at least had something round it. This new Bearscough grounds, it's literally just plonked in a field, and there's a lot of wind that goes around it. So, yeah, it's going to generate a lot of wind. It could be a scruffy game as well, even though it's on a nice surface. But that's how it is there, do you know what I mean? I believe when we played last week at Runcorn, they had hailstones and snow and all that, and rain, all in the one day.
I've seen some of that video. It looked unbelievably bad.
Yeah. Whereas we didn't have none of them conditions at Runcorn, did we?
No.
We just had cold.
It was cold that day, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So take the pitch aside, you've got to play the elements as well, which the elements will be a big factor in the game tomorrow. If it was in a summer's day, you might be able to play football and get it down, which we'll always look to play football. That's our principles, our philosophy. We'll always look to play football. But there might be times in this game when the elements won't let us.
Yeah. So if there is any sort of wind about tomorrow anyway, it's going to be more pronounced there, because that it is in an exposed position. I know what you mean. The old Bearscough ground is literally a stone. You could throw a stone over to it, but you're right. This is mostly facing that big farmers' field sort of thing, and wide open. So that's something that we keep.
Listen, there'll probably be a few more fans tomorrow generated by neutralness, by wanting to go and see what happens because of my interest of where I've been and seeing what happens on that side. So there could be a few more fans on the gate. I'm hoping there's a lot more perps who come down and support us and watch us, because that's what we're about. We always take a good following away wherever we go. So I'm hoping that we have that.
A couple of points to mention on that, Paul. I think it was Widnes v Skem last week or whenever that was over Christmas. Boxing Day. Attendance 120. So on that basis, I don't know what the relative crowds are or who was there, who wasn't there, but that's pretty poor.
Since they've gone there, they've had low crowds. From the past when we were at Chairmao, which you've seen yourself, we were getting 300s,
the local
250s, 300s they were getting. So that was then. They're now struggling to generate that. But as I say, there'll probably be a healthy crowd on the gate tomorrow, because there'll be a lot of people just going to watch it, won't they?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, definitely. And we've said it before, but as your team or our team starts to improve and hopefully continues a push up the table, people come back. You still there, Paul?
Yeah, just hold on.
Your lecky's gone.
It has. Can you see?
Yeah,
hold on 1 second.
No,
I can see it. Someone was ringing on the phone. It's my son's iPad, so someone was ringing on it.
Yeah. People come back if the football's improving, as we know that it is, and the results are improving. People come back. Our typical sort of away crowd is something between 80 and 100, 120. And we do get affected by Liverpool FC away games. Tomorrow, Liverpool are at home, but it's 8 o'clock kickoff. So, a lot of people will be able to do them both. Quick train up from Central to Ormskirk, get onto quick switch lines onto Bearscough. You're right in the middle of Bearscough, and it's a lovely little village. There's some great pubs there. We like to congregate in the Hop Vine, don't we?
There is, yeah.
Yeah, so people can.
It's a nice little area. It is. It's a nice little area to go for drinks and that around there and food. So. And
then straight back in town. And if you go on a match, you've got plenty of time to get to Sandbills and walk up or do whatever. But you can definitely do both games tomorrow. So we're hoping for a few more pubs to be there tomorrow to bolster our own vocal support. Yeah. So that's good. Okay, well. I mean, is there anything else, mate, or is that it? Our little 25 minutes?
I've got to go and name my squad now.
Go and name your squad. I've got to go to Chippy for the family. Everyone's starving.
Name the squads and then probably go and watch Lowbreath.
Are they playing tonight, are they? Against Avron? That's a good game, isn't it? Yeah.
Probably go and watch that a bit later on.
Yeah. Right.
The wife's saying I'm not. She's just said them.
No, you're not. You spoke too soon.
I know.
Say please. Yeah. Hey, Vicky.
You'll be all right. She'll let me else.
Right. We'll better get off then and get back to the family life. All right. Thank you, Paul. See you tomorrow, mate.
See you tomorrow, mate.
Anyone watching, don't forget, hit the subscribe button at the end of the video. Thank you. See you
now.